and welcome to the Women on the Move Empowerment Sessions brought to you by the Streaming Sanctuary. This is the space where faith meets forward movement and empowerment in the spirit. This session is all about the Kindred Lady, and this is for the woman who is becoming more and more discerning about her relationships and her friendships. Because as we grow, our friendships, they must grow with us or they will quietly drain us. We don't want that. Not every connection that you have is meant to last forever, and not every familiar voice is meant to guide you into your next season. This conversation isn't about cutting people off just for the sake of cutting people off. I know we're at the beginning of the year and it's like, let me delete everybody. No, that's not what this conversation is about. And this conversation is also not about just going out here trying to grab up all the friendships that you can. This conversation is about leaning in to connections with wisdom, alignment, and stewardship. Stewardship of your heart, of your energy, and your walk with God. It's all important. The people closest to you influence how you think, how you pray, how you show up for yourself, how you see yourself, and how boldly you are able to move forward. So you are going to want to lean in for this one. Take a moment, slow down, get out your notepad so you can take some good notes on this conversation. Listen honestly and reflect with courage. Let's go ahead and get into this one. So, hello everyone, and welcome again to Women on the Move Empowerment Sessions. And before we begin our session today, I want to take a moment to welcome someone who is truly family to Women on the Move. She has been here before, and my guest today is not a stranger to this space. She has poured into us before, most memorably in our conversation on resilience. So she is the resilient woman, and today she is the Kindred Lady. So she returns again with that same wisdom, that same authenticity, and that courageous heart and spirit. But beyond the title and beyond this platform, this is definitely personal for me because I have had the privilege of calling Alarrica my friend for over 15 years. And what began as a friendship has definitely grown into a sisterhood, right? We have a foundation that has been rooted in trust for each other, respect for each other. We've prayed together, we've laughed together, and we definitely have supported each other. So I know firsthand how deeply you value relationships and how intentionally you show up for the people that God has placed in your life. So it is an honor and a joy to welcome you back into this conversation, Miss Alarrica
Thank you.
Parks.
Thank you.
And
Thank
I
you.
want to
Thank you.
give a quick bio on Alarrica because, listen, Alarrica is famous. And I believe everybody that's coming across the Streaming Sanctuary and Women to Move, they are famous. And, one day you're going to be like, I've seen them somewhere, but Alarrica is famous. Alarrica is a devoted mother of two. She has a daughter named Jaylyn and a son named Javon. She is a proud grandmother to one
Yeah.
grandson. And I know these roles have shaped her understanding of connection, of
Yeah.
legacy, and intentional relationships, right? Professionally, Alarrica is a seasoned leader in the financial industry. She has over a decade of experience as a people manager. She's definitely known for her ability to lead with clarity. She leads with empathy and consistency.
Yes.
And she doesn't just manage teams, but she knows how to build people.
Mhm.
And beyond the corporate world, Alerica is a true people person with a courageous adventurous spirit, I would say. She loves to travel, so she is a travel enthusiast. And she's equally comfortable with exploring the world by herself. She don't need anybody to go with her,
Right.
or she can create those moments and memories with friends. She loves to be outdoors and stays physically active by trying new experiences, whether that's hiking a new trail, floating in a hot air balloon. I know she loves hot air balloons,
I
or
do.
embracing something that stretches her beyond her current comfort zone. And when she does have a moment to slow down because she's always on the go, you'll find her doing still even something fun like grabbing a musical, a concert, reading a good book, or working through a jigsaw puzzle. So, at her core, I do believe that Alarrica embodies the power of what I like to call close, honest, Christ-centered friendships and relationships that uplift us, ground us. And she is one who is going to lovingly tell you the truth.
I will.
She's going to
Yes, yes,
lovingly
yes,
tell you the truth. And at the
yes.
end of that conversation, you're either going to love her or not love her. I'm not going to say you're going to hate her. You're either going to love her or you're going to hate her. But she definitely has a heart for community and a heart for connection, which I believe makes her the perfect voice for today's conversation.
Yes,
So,
yes, yes.
welcome, Alerica.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And yes, it's always going to be coming, it's always, always going to come from a place of love.
Yes.
Always.
Rooted in love and
Yes,
carried out in a way that you are going to transform
yes,
somebody in the midst of the conversation. And I
yes.
think, Alerica, that's a good place for us to start because as we were kind of warming up for this conversation, we were talking about how when people watch this empowerment session, I don't want people to take away the wrong message. So this empowerment session, even though it is titled the Kindred Lady, it's not an empowerment session for us to feel like we have to be in the space or in everybody's circle,
Right,
because we're not going to be everybody's cup of tea. Everybody may not like how we look, what we say, what we stand for, etc., etc., etc. And sometimes, even when you show up as your authentic self and you say things out of love, and it doesn't even have to be anything that you're saying directly to someone, but it could be something that you say that may not necessarily rub someone the wrong way, but they don't agree with it. That doesn't mean that we tailor who we are in order for this person to feel like, okay, well, you can be comfortable in my space. And Alerica, that is one thing, an attribute that I know about you is that I have never seen you water down who you are. I've never seen you change your approach or anything for that matter in order for people to feel like, oh, well, I can be comfortable around Alerica, or
mhm.
Alerica can be my friend because, she changed, her whole approach with me. So I want women to really understand that you have to be who you are, how God designed you to be. And those that are supposed to be in your circle, whether that's 5 people or 50 people, are going to be in your circle. And, some
Absolutely.
of us are not designed to handle a lot of friendships, right?
Right, right.
Some
Yeah,
of us do not have that capacity to be able to do that. And that doesn't mean that the friendships that you do have are not as weighty or as equally as important as someone who knows how to manage,
right.
different friendships. So, Alerico, like, what do you think about, you know, when you think about people, or maybe even just thinking about your own personal experiences, because I know growing up, and you just turned 50, you just celebrated your 50th birthday,
Did.
so I
I
know
did.
going into this new turn of life has probably opened your eyes to how you view the current friendships that you have, and even maybe newer friendships that you are going to develop. So, like, just starting off, what's the piece of advice that you would just give to set the tone for that woman who feels like, maybe I need to change something about me in order to fit in or feel like people should like me?
So let me back up a little bit because I don't know that you want to change who you are to fit in, but I do want to go back and speak on something that you mentioned. Um, at there was a point in my life where I did have to really change who I was and be more inviting or approachable, right?
Okay.
In my early 20s, I wasn't extremely friendly, right? And a lot of people said that I was mean and that I'm unapproachable or whatnot. And even right now, reflecting back or whatnot, I think it came from a place of having a defensive personality just because of my upbringing and things that I went through, going through high school. I was bullied in high school. So I
Okay.
think my personality came from a defensive place. And so I heard a lot that I'm mean and unapproachable. So I had to look at myself and I
Hmm.
did have to make some changes,
Okay.
right? Whether it was just facial expressions, just, not looking mean or being
Hmm.
the first person to speak and be more inviting, like starting friendly conversations with people, because that was not me always.
Okay.
And so it really started at work. And
Okay.
it started at work because my reputation preceded me. And so for a long time, I could not get promotions. And so I had to rebrand myself. And so I truly believe that's where it started. So I really worked hard on rebranding myself and becoming more friendlier and approachable and not thinking that everybody has it out for me or just automatically
Mhm.
somebody doesn't like me because of XYZ. Right.
Right.
And so, you know, fast forward to this big grown age or whatnot, I am my true self. I am my authentic self. And when I meet people, you have to, and I, cliche, but you have to meet people where they are. You have to accept people for who they are. And if it's somebody that you can't really vibe with, that's okay, right? You don't have to be their friend. And so I don't change who I am, but I do, if I have a friend that maybe, like you said, not a lot of people can have a big circle, right?
Right.
Or not everybody is touchy feely and warm. Like I'm a hugger. I'm gonna say I love you. I'm gonna laugh and
Hmm.
joke. But I have friends who's not very warm and fuzzy, right? And so I have to meet them where they are. I
Exactly.
recently had a friend tell me, because I asked her, because I felt like, am I too much sometimes? I said, and I asked her, I said, can I be a bit overwhelming or too much as a friend sometimes? And she told me yes. And I was like, okay, got it. And
But
so
this was specifically to that friend, right? So
to
you were
that
asking based on that
for her,
one-on-one relationship, right?
yes. And we've been friends I've been at Synchrony for 25 years. So we've been friends for 25 years because we've
Okay.
been at Synchrony. But I've learned things about her over the years. And so I adjust to what's
Right.
comfortable for her for our friendship. So
Okay.
again, it's not about changing who you are, but just adjusting for the dynamics of what your friendship is with that particular person.
Mm.
That
And
makes sense.
I like how you when you talked about it, you talked about the adjustments that not necessarily that you had to make, but that you needed to make because you recognized you were showing up from a place of defense. And that was
Yeah.
because of how you grew up and how people treated you. So earlier on in life, the dynamics of friendship were different than how showed up in 20s and definitely now, going into your 50s. So even if we do need to change, that change needs to happen for the best of who we are and not the best of the crowd,
Yes.
right? I
Yes.
think that would be the good way that I would coin it is if you need to change, then it's because you want to show up as a better version of yourself
The better
because
version.
you're not reflecting who you truly need to be
Yes.
versus trying to show up in order to be who everybody else around needs you to be. Because when you show up as your authentic self, those who you need to attract are going to be attracted and they're
Yes.
going to be drawn to you because there is something that you bring to the relationship.
Yes.
And a lot of times, that's where you get awareness from, right? So when you think about awareness, because our emotions often reveal more about who we are
Yep.
than we
They
realize.
surely do.
And so when you think about your current relationships, what is the word or how would you describe what you feel first when you think about your current relationships? Would you describe them as supportive, joyous, tension, obligatory, and whatever words you choose? Why would you use that word to describe when you think about your current friendships?
My current friendships, I would say the first word that comes to mind is supportive, right?
Okay.
And that's just because of recent events, right? I just had a birthday, right? And um the way that my people show up for me, very supportive, right? The outcome of my birthday party, a lot of people showed up. I don't know why I was surprised. Um, I mean, the invites went out, but even the day of, people were calling and texting and saying that they weren't going to be able to make it, and so it got to be a little bit overwhelming because I'm like, oh my God, we're up to 10 people who said they're not going to make it today. But the
Right.
outpouring of love of people that still showed up was amazing. Even my trip to Africa for my 50th birthday, and the one friend that went with me or whatnot. She didn't have to go. She had just recently dealt with a life-changing event, and I did not think that she was going to be able to make it, but she was like, nope, I committed to this. I'm going, I will make it happen. So again, just the way that people show up for me, I love it. And I will also say fun. I have a fun circle of friends. I love that, anything that I'm willing to try, there's somebody in my circle that's going to say, okay, I'll do it with you. Now, there's a couple people that are like, nah, you're going to have to get somebody else to do that.
Don't call
I'm
me for that one.
I'm not that friend. LaDanya tell me in a minute, I'm not the hiking friend. I'm the travel friend. I'm not hiking the mountain. So I would say my circle, the way I would describe it is supportive and fun. And I hope that if someone, oh, if that was asked of one of my friends, and I would hope that that would be their same response too. I hope that I show up as supportive and as fun as people show up for me.
Yeah. And I like how you talked about, the diversity of your friendships, right? So you know who you can call and who you should call to do what type of adventures, you want to complete. Because yeah, not everybody in your circle is, gonna want to do everything.
And you know which friend you are, right?
Which friend am I?
You are the friend that, think back to when we were in the office. You were
Uh-huh.
the friend I would come to, and I'd be like, what would
Friend.
Alicia do?
Right, friend, help me, friend. Tell me
I
what
need
you
I need my pastor friend. I need Pastor Alicia. I need your advice on something.
Yes, I remember you saying that. Yes.
I've said that a couple of times. What would Alicia do? So you're that friend for me, and you are that friend too that is going to be honest, right? Who's
Mhm.
going to give me the hard truth. You and my god kid's mom, you guys are going to give it to me straight, even if I am wrong. Now you'll do it in a more loving way. Like, well, Lyrica, have you ever thought? She's going to do it in a cutthroat way. I
Right.
always say you guys are really good at helping me see the big picture and playing devil's advocate. So I appreciate that.
Right. Well, the Bible tells us to be harmless as doves, but we got to be as shrewd as a snake. So, I
Yeah.
try to use my discernment.
Yes.
But
Yes, yes,
and
yes.
because people always tell me like, "Oh, you're just so calm, and you're so peaceful." Um, but there are some times where some situations I just be like, "No, this not time for a warm and fuzzy. Like they need to hear it
Yeah.
just like this."
Yeah.
Um, because not every friendship feels the same. Because not every friendship serves the same purpose. And you
So
talked
true.
about how, like,
So
when you
true.
come to me, it's like, hey, look, Alicia's purpose, that pastor, I need pastor friend Alicia to show up in my life, and you know who, what, when, where, who to call on for what you need and how you need that friend
Yep.
to serve you. So when you think about your friendships, what friendships in your life reflect and promote how you evolve? right? How you're involving in your character, who encourage your growth in any different area, like different seasons. Like I talked about earlier, how, you just turned 50. I'm not just trying to throw your age out there, but I think that is a
Oh, I wear it
milestone.
proudly.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's a milestone to celebrate, because you don't look a day over 35.
Thank you.
You don't look like you have two grown children and a grandson. So I know, like, when people were, they're gonna be like 50 years old. Yes, she's 50 years old.
Yes,
Just
thank
turned
you,
50.
thank you.
But so when you think about your friendships and you reflect on them, which ones reflect, and it could be all of them or it could be some of them, but which ones reflect and promote how you evolve and show up as Alarrica in your ever-changing seasons?
So I will tell you, with the children's mom, I don't know why I'm emotional, but with the godchildren's mom, I think with her, again, she's been one that's been honest or whatnot, and as far from a growth perspective, she's very, very positive. She never has a bad day, right? She's always super positive. She always gets me to see the good in something or how it can turn something around to a positive. So I would say her, and I will tell you, one thing that has stuck with me about her, where that was a pivotal moment for our friendship. I remember one time calling her phone and one of the girls answered or whatnot, and she said they were headed to the pool and they don't live far. They were going to go hang out at the pool. So I said, oh, okay, I'll come over or whatnot. And I heard the youngest in the background say, Mom says she don't feel like being around Alarrica today. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I was like, she don't feel like being around me today. And so I was like, and so the Otis said, Ariel, be quiet. Shh. But I had already heard it. So I was like, okay. So I hung up and my feelings was hurt. I'm like, why she don't feel like being around me today? And why wouldn't she just tell me or whatnot? So the Otis went back and told her mom, hey, listen, Ariel said this, and I think God mommy heard her or whatnot. And she called me right back. And at first I wasn't going to answer the phone because
Mhm.
I'm like, what's wrong with me? So I was like, nope, let me answer it. Let me just see what she has to say. And she told me, and it was at a time that I was in a relationship that was not, I was not in a healthy relationship. What I was not aware of is that it was, because I was not happy, in this relationship, it was coming off to others, or I was not a good person to be around at that time. Maybe I wasn't happy, or maybe I was always negative or always mad or whatnot. And so that's what she told me. And she said, listen, she said, I know that you're in this relationship and you're not really happy, but you're not the Alarrica that I'm used to being around. And no, I don't feel like being around you. I don't want to be around you. And while it was a hard pill to swallow, it made me reflect like, dang, like I didn't get mad at her. I was like, okay, maybe she's right. And I tell you, and I often, go back and I thank her for being honest with me, because I want to say that's when I really started understanding the importance of self-reflecting
Mhm.
and making sure that when I'm around people that I'm a positive spirit, that I'm not the Debbie Downer, right?
Exactly.
And so I will always thank her, as far as that, when we talk about growth and, realizing, things that you might need to change about yourself. Now, I have a cousin that I'm very, very close with. She's my cheerleader. She also works for Synchrony. She's been with Synchrony for like almost 30 years. That's the one that's going to push me and make me tap into my talents and say,
Mhm.
hey, you need to do this. She
Mhm.
pushes me, make me realize who I am, that I am a queen, that I am smart, and it's time for you to start making moves.
Mhm.
So when I think about, relationships that stand out the most, that help me grow and continue to look at myself, I would say those two.
Mm. Because growth is something that sharpens our discernment.
Yes.
And, even in that situation where, um, your friend told you, like, hey, look, you're in this relationship, sounds like it was toxic and it was changing you into a person that she knew you not to be.
Yeah.
And it was draining for her. So if it was draining for her, I know it was draining for you. If it
Yeah.
was draining for her, and maybe that was something that you recognized, but you needed someone to come in and be that voice of reason for you. And even when I think about that situation, I think about how sometimes in friendships, when we establish new friendships and new relationships with other people, how they impact our current friendships, because new friendships can mean that old friendships get pushed out of the way because that person has served their purpose and now they're gone and now there's someone else. It could also mean that a new friendship strengthens another friendship that you have. And that's what I mean by growth sharpens our discernment and how we
Yeah.
show up. But have there ever been times, because I know like myself personally, there have been friendships that have left me feeling drained, even doubtful, right? And they have impacted not only my relationships with people, but they've impacted my relationship with God. And I'm like, I know I cannot hang on to this. I gotta let this go.
Mm.
And just growing up in my discernment and recognizing, okay, this person should have never been in your life. It shouldn't have even been seasonal. This was definitely just a situational thing. But are there any connections that you can think back on and say, okay, you know what, this one left me feeling kind of drained or even feeling kind of doubtful? How did you handle those situations, and then how did they impact you spiritually? How did you begin to uh, show up or not show up? Because it sounds like in this relationship with this guy, I was like, oh, okay, now wait a minute. You were
Yeah.
showing up as a different person, but how do you handle it?
So I will tell you, and it's a friendship that I still currently have. We've been friends for 20 plus years. But I will tell you, it is a friendship. It does drain me. Um, and I don't know, we still have a connection that I can't quite understand or describe,
Hmm.
but because it is a draining friendship, I navigate. I distance myself when I need to, right?
Okay.
We don't talk every day. We don't talk every week, right? Um, I show up for her when I know that she needs me. Um, but I let her know when, kind of like how Aisha did with me, like I'm not in
Hmm.
the mood for you today. I have to do it a little bit more often with this one because
Right.
she's not one that self-reflects often. Um, but she knows how I feel about the friendship too. I've made it very clear to her, like, listen, I can't deal with this right now.
Okay.
You always ask me for advice. I give it to you, and you always do the complete opposite. And then you always end up in a mess. And then you come to me, and then you want me to fix it.
Mm.
Stop asking me. And she'll say, why are you being so mean? Why? I say, I'm not being mean. You know that I'm honest. That's why
Mhm.
you ask me. And I love her to death. I do. It's just that again, it's one of those friendships that is going to leave me exhausted and drained. And so I have to know um, when I can deal with her and when I need to just, hey, I'm going to talk to you another time.
Right.
So
Because sometimes growth and even being wise in our decision making requires us to have distance so that we can avoid drama.
yes, 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 yes,
We
yes.
let me put some resist or some distance in here as to avoid any sort of drama
Yeah,
in
yeah,
my life, because you don't want other people's um issues to become your even though these are people that we call our friends. And I also think about Alarrica, how we have, I think some people confuse acquaintanceships with friendships. And then you have some friends who are like best friends.
yeah,
Like they know a little bit more about your core. They know a little bit about those hidden places that not everybody is going to see. They see a little bit more of you than other people will be able to see.
for sure.
And how have you, or have you ever walked away from a friendship that was no longer serving life to you? And if you ever, I'm sure you have, because I feel like everybody has had to make that decision. But when that happened, how did that feel, and what did you learn from that experience?
Um, I think what people don't talk about a lot is heartbreak that you have when you have to leave a friendship.
Hmm.
Can hurt just as much as when you leave a lover, right?
Hmm.
People don't talk about that because it really does hurt, especially when you've been friends for a long time. I had a friend, so yes, I can think of two friendships where I had to walk away. One where this person very pessimistic, right? Very pessimistic. That can be draining. You don't want to be around someone who's negative all the time, right?
All the time, right?
Never had anything good to say, but also too, I didn't like how she treated people.
Mm-hmm.
There was things that she had done to people in her family, and it got me to thinking, well, if she would do this to her sister, she would do this to me. Like, and so I'm like, I can't trust her.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to wait around to see what happens or what that's going to look like. So I'm going to have to cut her off. Right. And it was something that I didn't just one day say, hey, we're not going to be friends anymore. I just slowly walked away. Right. I just distanced myself.
Okay.
Right. And then another relationship that I can think about, and our friendship started at work, right? And I'm big on people. You have to have a kind heart and a kind spirit for me to be around you. If I see that you do not possess those things, I can't be around you because I think naturally I'm that way, and so I want to be around people that share those same characteristics. And I just she was I felt like she wasn't kind, she didn't speak positive about people. And then also too, her work ethic, even though her work ethic did not impact me directly,
Mm-hmm.
I seen how it impacted my peers, and I lost respect for her. And so I walked away. I was like, yeah, no, I can't be friends with her because people will think too, birds of a feather flock together,
Mm-hmm.
right? Sometimes. But again, I did not condone her work ethic because I have such a strong work ethic. And so no, I didn't, I had to walk away. Yeah, we have fun together outside of work or whatnot, but at your core, if you're not an honest person, no, I can't
Yeah.
I can't be around you.
So honesty is a quality that you definitely seek in a friend. You got to be
Oh,
honest.
yeah, for sure. For sure. And
Honesty, trustworthy.
integrity, absolutely. Yes,
Because
yes,
if I
yes, yes.
find out you out here lying
Yes, yes, yes,
on
yes.
me or about anything in general, and like you mentioned with the other friend, is like, okay, well, if you would do this to your family, like your blood, then
What
you
makes me
probably
different?
would do something
Mm-hmm.
worse to
Mm-hmm.
me,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, and that's where that wisdom comes in. But like you said, sometimes you just got to silently distance yourself. Sometimes you got to announce the exit. Look, I'm leaving, so that that person no longer bothers you anymore, and know that they're no longer, serving as a friend anymore. Like, this season is over. I think
Over,
we have
right.
learned everything that we need to learn about each other, because showing up for people who don't give you that same value back leaves you drained. It leaves you feeling unappreciated, right? And
Right.
but that's what we have to learn. Okay, am I supposed to be? Because this is something that's big for me, that I really try to pray on and think about whenever I'm introduced to new people, or even in my current friendships. Like, just think about, okay, what am I supposed to do in this situation? Like, how am I supposed to show up in this situation? Or even when I'm introduced to someone else, okay, well, is this somebody that's going to be in my life for like a long time? Like, am I supposed to be pouring into them, or is there something that I need from them, or is this going to be an exchange where we both are going to be serving each other? And that's something that
Yeah.
I would say, within like the past 5 to 10 years I've really been thinking more of, only because and I think I mentioned this in one of the empowerment sessions, because I know you had made a comment, because I remember thinking, like, I don't have any friends. Like, I remember, and I remember you made a comment like, what? Yes, you do have friends.
Yeah.
But I had to actually sit down and calculate, like, look who's in my circle and understand, which kind of is going to lead into our next questions about qualities that I need in friendships, and like what God wants me to have in my friendships. And I had to look, okay, who is around me and what are they bringing into the relationship that we, and that's when I began to identify, okay, Alicia, yes, you do have friends, right? You do have people that you can call on. There are people that can call on you. There's an even exchange of love, respect, and loyalty. And so I think every now and again, like everybody, you need to understand what qualities you seek in a friend, but what quality do you need in a friend?
I
Because
think
it's not
that's
necessarily about what quality you want. Because like you like to go
right.
travel, but it doesn't mean that you need every friend in your circle to be the travel enthusiast as you are. Because you
Right.
need to have someone when you come back home that can keep you grounded. But when you think about your season, like where you are right now, and the variety of qualities in the friendships that you do have, what's a quality that you seek in your friendships, like that one core quality that you will say all of your friendships bring to the table? And for this season that you're in right now, what is a quality that matters to you the most?
In a friendship,
Mm-hmm.
um, the one that would matter to me the most, I would say probably just continuing to be supportive, um, and honest. I would say I want to be around people who are grounded and have balance within their own lives, right? Because that's how I'm trying to move, right?
Right.
I'm trying to stay in that place. So again, just being around people where um when we share the same passions and have the same ideas about where we are in life, like just being grounded and being able to balance, balance life, right?
Right.
Um, I would, yeah, so I would probably say that.
Being supportive,
Supportive, yeah.
and in order to know what you need, you got to know what season you're in.
Yeah.
You know, because this season it may you may need this. I think support is one that's probably common, but in one season you probably need more support than in other seasons.
Oh, for sure.
In
For
some
sure.
seasons you may need, even though honesty is important, you may need a little bit more honesty in this season than in
Yeah.
other seasons, because it all connects to alignment. And I really believe that people carry weight, and whatever season, like, you and I are friends. So whatever season that you're in right now, because I remember you talked about this too, Alarrica, during the resilient woman, and you talked about how when you were afraid to go to sleep at night.
Hmm.
And that was something that I didn't know about you. And I was like, I don't think she ever shared that with me, right? And I remember thinking about it after the fact. I was like, well, man, like, why wouldn't she tell me that she, was afraid? Like, I'm sure there were people that knew that, that you were afraid to go to sleep at night. But I know it was revealed to me when it should have been revealed to me. But I just believe that was a season that you were in, and because of the season I was in, I could not handle that season for you. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. And when I think about my friendships, and I was thinking about this when you asked me earlier, and I'll be honest with you, no one actually knew that because I felt like people was gonna think I was weird,
Mm-hmm.
that I was crazy because I was scared to go to sleep at night. So it was just something I kept to myself or whatnot. And to your point, yeah, that was a season in my life where people showed up for me the most.
Mm-hmm.
because I had just lost my brother, then I lost my daddy. So it was a lot, right?
Right.
So, um, and you make a very valid point. I might need that support depending on it more than other seasons. And when I think about the season that I'm in right now, I will have to tell you, I'm so grateful. And
Right.
I feel so absolutely blessed. And yes, I want my friends to continue to show up for me, support me. Like I said, my friendships are fun too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just help keeping me balanced or whatnot. But I think right now I'm in a good place. I think I'm in a good season right now and I feel good. So, you know, I just want my friends to just, continue to, be there for if I want to just stay home and relax or have
Right.
company over, come over and sit with me and so just continue to be who they are.
Exactly.
And I'm going to continue to show up, for them as well.
And I mean that's what reflection is all about. And that's why I am a big advocate for you got to know who your friends are. You got to know what their strong traits are cuz like I know like we talked about honesty and friendship like I know if I come to you with the situation I know you're going to give it to me hardcore. I know if I'm looking for something fun and exciting and new to do, let me text Alarrica, hey, I'm trying to do something for this or trying to do it. And I know you're going to give me some good recommendations on that because we want our friendships to be healthy. Nobody
Yeah,
wants to be in a friendship that is unhealthy.
right.
I don't think anybody just wakes up and says, well, I don't know. There may be some people who thrive in toxic relationships. I'm not one of those people. Maybe past, younger, immature, naive days. But as you grow, it's like, no, toxic is not for me.
Yeah.
So, how do you currently invest? Because we talked a lot about how your friends show up for you, but how do you invest in your friendships?
Yes. Number one, I hate when I can't fix my friends' problems. It hurts my heart. I'm like, what can I do? What can I do? And like I have a friend right now. She's dealing with the anniversary of her mother's death. And
Okay.
so the other day I said, I know she's going through it right now. And I'm not good at speaking on those things. So
Okay.
I'm like, oh, I'm going to send her a joke to make her laugh.
Yeah.
Because I know she's feeling away, right? But I don't want to bring it up just in case she's not thinking about it. But I know she probably is. But I just want her to, be happy or what. So I just send her a text. I was like, hey, how are you feeling today?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And she told me loud and clear without saying it. She said, I'm moody today.
Mm.
I assume why.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, well, do you want me to come over? You want to hang out? So when I know, excuse me, that I have friends going through it or they're going through something, I I just show up by being an ear,
Mm-hmm.
right? Just listening. If they want my advice, I will give my advice or I'll say, hey, just from a relatable experience, can I share this or whatnot? So I
Right.
definitely try to be relatable, and just be their ear, their shoulder, whatever they need. Just the way that you all support me, I'm trying to show up 1,000 times more for you
Right.
because I think it's important, right?
Exactly.
So but I do want to speak on something that you said earlier when you said, why didn't she tell me? Why did I not know about this? And it wasn't a season where you would have been able to support. That's another thing that I recognize too. Like if I'm going through something and I know this friend is going through something and I need to talk, I'm not going to go to this person because they're dealing with their own stuff. We're all dealing with stuff,
Right.
right? And I know that any given moment, like in bless LaDonya's heart, there's been countless of times we've been out and I just started crying, right?
Uh-huh.
Because like even and when we were in Africa or whatnot, I had a moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because my birthday was coming up, celebrating getting ready to turn 50. My brother's not here.
Right.
right? My twin brother. And so we were sitting on the beach and it just hit me. And so I just got quiet. And I didn't want to start crying because I didn't want to ruin the mood because I don't want her to be like, we're sitting here on the we're on this island in Marin. What are you crying
Right.
for? So I tried to hold it in, but she recognized it. And so
Mm.
I knew she makes me comfortable and I'm able to be vulnerable around her. And
Yes.
so I cried a little bit.
Yeah.
Whereas, there's another friend where I can't be as vulnerable around because she has such a hard exterior,
Mm.
right?
Okay.
And it's not that I need the warm fuzzy, and I just need to be comfortable in that space that I'm in at that moment. And
Right.
not every friend, and that's not a bad thing, but
Exactly.
it's just who they are and how they deal with their own emotions, right?
Exactly.
So I wanted to just go back and speak on that when you said, you were going through your own stuff at that time. So that is something I try to be cognizant of as
Right.
well.
Because I
Is
think a lot of times we want to show up for our friends, even if we are going through and we'll say, hey, look, it doesn't matter, you can call me or whatever. And but when we know someone is in a rough season of the, because I remember even Alarrica when I was going through my divorce. And that was probably the darkest time ever in my life. And it lasted for a while, but I still tried to show up. But I remember one time, because you always buy me candles, but I remember you brought me a candle and a card. And I'll never forget. And it was just like a just because, brought me the candle and the card. And I was just like, oh, so whenever we are going, and sometimes it's like you may think, okay, well, this person's out of it. Like case in point to when you text your friend, it's like, hey, how are you doing today? Because you know of the situation and what
Mhm.
the mood could possibly
Mhm.
be. So let me go in, not too light,
Right.
and because they might be like, okay, wait a minute, I'm not, that's not the temperature.
Right.
And then you don't want to go in and blow it off because they might be
Right.
like, I wasn't even thinking about it. So it's like, okay,
Right.
hey, what's up? How you doing? And
Yeah.
that's something I'll say too. I'll just test me like, hey, just checking in. How you doing? How things going? Just to kind of get the vibe of, how my friends are doing. So I think that is important to have healthy boundaries and
Yes.
friendships. You have
Yes.
to have healthy boundaries and friendships, and just because someone says I'm moody today doesn't mean that it's all about you. Like I'm not going to take this personal because I understand why you
Yeah.
are in this particular this situation, because no relationship, and this is something that I thought about, is how no friendship or no relationship is immune to tension.
Oh, you are so right about that.
If you want to be a friend, you must know how to navigate conflict resolution. You got to have conflict resolution management. If you're going to be a friend, if you're going to be a friend to yourself, you don't even got to be a friend to nobody else. If you're going to be a friend to yourself, you have to know how to navigate conflict.
And we've
So
had that. We've had that
when
in our friendship.
right, you and I, like, and I remember like Alarrica, how like and this was early on in our friendship when we both had applied for the same job, and
Yep.
I didn't even expect that much adversity, because honestly, that was a true test of friendship, because
Oh,
there were
child.
so many people that were coming at the both of us like, oh, you both are applying for this job and da 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 da. And what are you going to do if she gets it? What are you going to do if she gets it? Da da da. And I remember you and I, we came together. We had our interviews on the same day. And we went into a room and we prayed before the interview. Like, whatever happens is going to happen. And we're going to be happy for whoever gets this role,
We
right?
did. And it was a necessary conversation to have because we had actually been friends for quite some time at this point. And
Exactly.
yeah, people were telling me, well, you deserve it, but over her. You're better qualified, or I hope you get it. Like they were pitting us against each other. And
Exactly.
I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, and I'm like you, I didn't know that it was become going to become such a thing, right? We talked to each other. You said you were applying. I said, okay, I'm applying. But it became big because of the outside noise.
Exactly.
It was the outside noise. And so I don't know who raised the conversation first, but I'm like, Alicia, listen, people are talking. They are hoping we fall out. I was like, and we said it, no matter who gets it, we will remain friends. We are going to be
We
friends.
are going
We're
to
going
be
to listen.
friends.
And yes, we went in a room, prayed about that thing. And it worked out the way that it was supposed to. And it came today and you got the position, right? We learned after the fact that it was tied. We
Time. It was
scored.
nothing.
It was this tie. And then they had to go in and figure out, okay, who are we going to give
Right.
this
Exactly.
position to? And they had to go in and dissect who answered a particular question the best, and
Right.
whatever. And so, yeah, of course, I was sad that I didn't get the position. And you don't know I went outside and cried because I didn't get the position because, oh my God, Alicia, you got it. I'm so excited, which I
Right.
truly was excited for you.
Right. But we're
So
human. Like that's a part of being a
yes,
human.
yes, 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 yes,
I
yes.
can be I can be happy for you and sad for myself at the same time.
Yes,
Those,
absolutely.
those, those two emotions can coexist at the same time. While I'm happy and I'm doing all the celebratory dances for you on the inside, I'm man, I wish that could have
And
been me.
I would like to think that some people learn from that experience, even if they don't come back and tell, just self-reflecting and looking at the situation and just really truly learn from that.
And the beauty in that is we both ended up pretty much, even though we kind of went like this in our careers, but we
Yeah.
both ended up back at the same spot. And it was like full circle moment as
Yeah,
to where
it was.
sometimes you just got to let go. You got to trust God in the situation, but you got to believe Him in those moments of conflict, because the conflict in those moments is really not about you, like personally, but it's about how people are going to see how you handle the situation.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Like, I want
Ooh,
to
let
see
me
how,
tell
if
you.
you're gonna fold in this, if y'all, because had we have, given in to the external pressures and got mad and said, well, you know what, you are right, I am better, and I'm this and I'm that, and went that way, then not only what does that do to the moment, because regardless of who got it, now we can't really celebrate because we're grieving a friendship.
Yeah,
I lost a friendship
exactly.
over this. So was that really worth it? God, was that really how you wanted this to go out? But then it also destroys the effectiveness of true friendship.
Yes, yes. Was it a real friendship
Was it a
to
real
begin?
friendship to begin with, or was this just, surface facade airs that they were putting on for everybody? And as soon as conflict came in, the whole friendship went to hell in a handbasket.
Yeah.
That's why I say you have to know how to have conflict resolution if you are going to be a friend, and not lean in and be defensive when it comes to other people,
Yeah.
because people are crazy. And
I can tell you about another conflict that I had with a friend who I'm still friends with. We LaDanya, I'll just say it. She sees this. She's gonna know what it is. I'm very transparent. Everybody knows that.
right.
So it was this time, because we're both from Ohio or whatnot, and we rode to Ohio together. We hung out or whatnot, and something happened while we were there. We were hanging out together, and something happened that evening or whatnot. And she commented on something, and she didn't like how I responded to her on something, but I didn't know that. And so on the drive back home, which was a 7-hour drive, she was super, super quiet.
Mm.
And I kept trying to talk to her and she kept putting, I'm like, what the hell is wrong with, like, I was so confused, right? And so we got here and she's taking her stuff out the car and putting them in her car to go back home or whatnot. And I was just so confused when she left. And then she came to work the next day because she had an extra key to my house. She came to work the next day and she put my house key on the desk. I felt like she was breaking. I was like, what is this?
Exactly. Because that's what it feels like.
Like, what did I do? And so she explained to me, I'm like, okay, but you didn't even give me a chance to explain myself, like, let's talk about it or whatever. And in the moment, she didn't want to. I was like, okay. And mind you, we've been friends since high school. So I was like, what's happening right now? So I gave her her space or whatnot. And then, after a couple of days, she called me and she said, I really thought about it. Right. So it's also being able to give that friend space too, time to think or whatnot. Now, I'll be honest with you. If too much time would have gone by, I would have showed up to her house because I'm that friend. I'm going to get on your nerves. We're going to talk about it. Unless it's something, like something that's really a deal breaker as far as the friendship. But I would have showed up to her house,
Right.
but gave her a couple days, let her sit in her space, let her, go through all of the feelings she was going through or whatnot. And then she called me and then we talked it out or whatnot. So, when we talk about conflict and resolution in a friendship, just being able to give each other the respect and the space to deal with those emotions, but still be able to
Exactly.
come back and have a conversation, a mature conversation, and be honest with each other. Because again, if you can't do that, then was it really a friendship,
Friendship.
especially over something that's minor,
Right.
right? So you definitely have to be able to have those skills in a true friendship.
Yeah, and I always say the devil is in the details, right? And where there is a lack of clarity, that's where the enemy can choose to
Oh, yes.
destroy
Better say it.
friendships.
You better
And
say it.
so, when you get that clarity and you get those moments of, okay, well, what did I do? And sometimes you just got to let people step back because the devil don't want us to get out of details. He want us to be um, stuck without clarity, stuck without the answers, and
Confused.
living in a posture of unforgiveness.
Mm,
And unforgiveness is the root and a root of a lot of illnesses that
yeah.
we go through because we refuse to lean into forgiveness. And we got to use our discernment so that we know, A, who do I need to step away from, but who do I need to lean into, right? And that's a good question or a good statement that you made when you talked about you and the situation with LaDanya, because sometimes we got to use our discernment to say, okay, do I need to let this go or do I need to lean more into
Yeah.
it? And when you think about your friendships, and even now, is there someone that you feel, and it could be someone in your past that maybe you've done this with, or maybe someone you may be feeling like maybe I need to uh, do this now. But is there someone you feel that you could have called out to reach out to in order to forgive them or to invest more deeply into that friendship? Or is there something that might be holding you back from extending that forgiveness or maybe even receiving their forgiveness, Alarrica? Because it may not necessarily be that you need to forgive someone, but maybe you just need to receive their forgiveness.
Mm. So, so there's two things I want. I'm going to say this one thing, and then I'm going to move on and talk about another friendship. There, or maybe we can tap into it a little bit.
Okay.
So there is a friendship where at first I didn't accept their forgiveness, right? And then after some time, because they were going through some things, I said, you know what? I'm going to forgive them, right? I'm going to forgive them for XYZ. They're going through this, they need a friend. But sometimes deep down inside, I wonder if I really did forgive them.
Mhm. And why do you question that?
Even though I guess maybe because the dynamics of the friendship changed.
Okay.
And I feel like I, um, that's intentional. Like I don't I don't feed the friendship like I used to. And I'm wondering in if it's because maybe deep down I don't forgive them.
Okay.
But they continue to, at first it was mostly just them reach out, hey, how you doing? What's going on? Hey, you want to such and such? And I would, but I wasn't returning the gestures anytime soon.
Okay.
Right. A little bit better at it now because I'm like, okay, they really do love me. They really do want to continue
They're
to be in my
trying.
life. But I still think about the hurt and the pain that they caused.
Okay.
So that's that. And then there was another friendship where I know that she was going through something and I was trying to be supportive, but the way she was responding to me was in an attacking way, right? I would suggest something and she say, well, if that's your suggestion, you're not really my friend. Do you not hear anything that I'm saying? I'm like, whoa, why are you biting my head off? And it happened one too many times. And I said, you know what? I'm going to let you deal with this situation by yourself. And so I stepped away.
Mm.
And so, she reached out one or two more times, but I distanced myself because, you know, and she tried to apologize for how she came at me, but it let me know. And this was a friendship that we hadn't been friends too long, maybe
Right.
somewhere around a year and a half, 2 years. But it showed me how you deal with your friends when you're going through something, and
How you
I
handle conflict?
exactly. And I didn't want to be on the receiving end of how you're treating your friends when you're going through something. So, yeah, no.
You
I
know, that
accept
kind of
your
comes to the old cliche, hurt people, right?
yes,
And if you're
yes.
hurting, I don't want you hurting me. If you don't
Yeah.
know how to navigate your feelings through hurt, then um, and you can apologize and I can forgive you, but I can choose to distance myself from the friendship. So it sounds like you have two different ones on both ends of the spectrum where
Yeah.
you have that one where it's like, okay, dynamics of the relationship has changed, but you're working to get back to that, I guess I'll say safe space for lack
Yeah.
of a better term, because when trust is broken in any relationship, you got to be intentional about rebuilding that trust in order to get
Yes.
back to that place of safety.
Yes.
And for some people, it takes a little bit longer to get back to that place of safety. Like even when you talk about LaDanya, and I feel like I know LaDanya well enough to know this. So LaDanya, when you see this and you hear this, it comes out of love. But um LaDanya is, and this is from what I know and what I have embraced, feel, and just in conversation with her. LaDanya is an emotional sponge. Like I can tell that she loves hard. I can tell that she cares hard, but I can also tell that when her feelings are hurt, when you break her feelings, that she has to process that, right? It's going to take that time for her to process in order to come back and feel like, okay, I can be safe with you. And she probably took the time to count it up and say, okay, well, the pros that I know about Alarrica outweigh the cons that I know about Alarrica. So she's a safe space,
Yeah.
right? And I think that's like, even when you think about the relationship where you're trying to repair, that's what trust looks like when you're rebuilding trust. Is there enough faith and trust in this person to say, you know what? I can see us getting back to this strong area again based on the platform that we've already built versus, you know what, like with this second relationship that you talked about, nah, because you done bit my head off too many times.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like there's really no safe space for me to get back to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's
Exactly.
where discernment comes in to
Yes.
know who do I need to step away from and who do I need to
Yes.
lean into.
Yes.
You have
Yes.
to
Yes. Yes.
know what the foundation of that friendship is. So, Lerica, you have shared a lot of information about friendships, how you navigate friendships, how your friends show up for you. And I even shared this with you when I thought about who I wanted to come on, because there was another person that I wanted to come on to talk about friendships. And when I had the pleasure of attending your 50th birthday party, because like I said, I know firsthand 101 the type of friend that you are. But when the video came up and the different people were speaking about you, and even just the different comments, it's like everybody in the room was like, wait a minute, Lyrica, you can't have all these friends. Like, I know she love y'all, but like, but I really think that is from the love and respect that people have for you, as well as the love and respect that you put out for other people. But you create a space that makes people want to love you and be a friend to you and for you. And I think that that speaks volumes. So after that, I was like, yeah, let me have Alarrica come on here. But another reason why was because I saw so much diversity in your friendships.
Yes.
And one thing that I believe as Black women, African American women, we need to do a better job at is diversifying our friendships, not just because of just color, right? Like we can
Right.
be friends with African Americans, Caucasians, Chinese, Japanese,
Yes.
whoever,
Yeah.
Asians, or um, we need to understand like, okay, who needs to be in our circle, like, because they don't just have to look like us, they don't just
Right.
have to think like us, but not only the diversity of race, but diversity in the different activities that you all share together. Because I'm like, Alarrica is horseback riding, she's hot air ballooning, she's reading books, she's putting together tables, I mean puzzles, she's going to she's doing, I'm like, she got a person she can do everything everything in the world with. There is somebody that Alyrica can go through her Rolodex and say, "Hey, let's be able to do this." And that's why I wanted you to come on because I don't feel that you are a woman who is afraid to open up, to receive love, and to give love to other
Yeah.
people. So
Yeah.
that is a gift that a lot of people do not have. So I am grateful that God placed you in my life because it has allowed me to be more open as well in how I receive love and how
Yeah.
I show love. But I want to end this empowerment session with vision because I believe that God is intentional about the company that we keep. The Bible tells us, and I actually was looking this up. I was like, let me find that scripture, but and this is from Proverbs 18:24. It says, "A man who has friends must himself be friendly, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother." And I thought of like I think about you because if you are one who has friends, you must also be friendly. So it's not just about having friends,
For sure.
but you also have to be a friendly person. And we
Absolutely.
kind of started talking about this at the beginning. This conversation is not for you to figure out how to obtain more friends, but
No.
this is for us to understand how do I extend this friendship to other people. And if there is no one on this earth, which I know that that's not the case, but if there's no one on this earth that you can be friends with, you can always find a friend in Christ. But he's going to connect you to someone that is going to
Oh,
be
for sure.
a friend with you. But if you could design your ideal circle of friends, and I feel like maybe it's already done, it's already designed for you. Um, what would your circle of friends look like, or would you say that you have that now?
I do have that now. Um, like you said, my circle of friends, it's diverse in interests and hobbies, careers, um, the way that they think and process things, problem solve, right? And I think that is important to be around people who think different from you because we learn from each other that way, right?
Exactly.
Is everyone in my circle I can have a conversation with and learn something about something different, right?
Right.
So I think that again, because I'm a diverse person and I'm willing to learn different things and try different things or whatnot, that's why my circle is where it is now,
Exactly.
right? And like I lean into each of you for different reasons. When I tell you that I am just so grateful for the people in my life. Um I don't know. I spoke about it, at the party or whatnot, but um I need you all for different reasons and different periods in my life, and I'm just blessed. Someone told me you have too many friends, and for me, it's no such thing. There's no such thing. Or you'll hear, and mostly Black women say, "Oh, I can't be friends with a bunch of Black women." I hate to hear people say that because why not? But maybe it's you.
It's so limiting.
It is. It really is. And so, yes, while I have a huge tribe, my tribe is strong and I stand on that. I stand
Mhm.
on it. And I wouldn't, for the people that are in my life right now, I would not give them up for the world.
Amen.
So,
And I think Alarrica too, when you talked about Black women, how we say, we can't be friends, but I think Black women in general, like even when people the term like, oh, I can't do women, you know, okay, but
you
you're a
might want to look
lady,
at yourself.
right? Like, so you're a lady, and like if you don't know how to treat anybody else, if you don't know how to show up for anybody else, the one question, the one thing that you can always think of is how do I want people to show up for me?
Yep.
And maybe that's the way we can end this conversation, right? If you don't understand, or if you want to understand, okay, how can I be more of a friendly person? Then how do you want people to show up for you? Because I think that's like the first step in extending the olive branch is let me just show up for people the way that I have felt neglected. Because a lot of times that's another reason why we put
Yes.
all these safeguards
Yeah.
around us is because people have not shown up for us in a way that we felt like we needed. Because we all have, the what do you call it, the love languages, right? So everybody has different love languages. How you and that's not just for relationship
It's
or companionship.
absolutely.
That's for our
Absolutely.
friendships, right?
Yes. Yes.
Because if you are a friend, and case in point with you, if you are have a friend that enjoys quality time, well, well, with that friend, I need to be spending time with them. Like I'm an acts of service type of person. So for me, my if you tell me you're going to do something, I want you to do it.
Yeah.
If you tell me you're going to show up, because that's what I give out. Like if I tell you I'm going to be there, loyalty is my core,
Yes.
and that really is what matters to me. So, and I understand that situations and things happen, but I try to have people in my corner who I know are going to be loyal. But show up for people the way that you want people to show up for you. If you don't know how to
Absolutely.
extend that friendship, if you don't know how to be the kindred lady, show up for people the way that you want
Yeah. That is so
to show
true.
up for you. And when
That
you
is so true.
start there, that's when you can open the door to embrace the diversity of the different friendships that God wants you to have. Because
And
while I
people,
said I'm an acts of service type of person,
yeah.
quality time is still important.
Yes, for sure. And people will see you for who you are, and you will naturally attract people who are like you. So that's
Exactly.
why. So, maybe self-reflect. Is it you? I don't know.
Self-reflect, look at the good, but reflect on that negative piece and what you need to change
Yeah.
about who you are so that people can see you for who you really are.
Yeah.
And that's where the walls can kind of start coming down. So
Yeah. Yes.
Alerica, you know, listen, once again, you have blessed us with some nuggets on friendships. Maybe I'll just insert the Golden Girls theme song right here. But and for me and everybody else who calls you friend, thank you for being a friend. Thank you for sharing that friendship on this platform so that other women can know how they can show up
Yes, for
and
sure.
build as you say, build your tribe and be able to rest in your tribe.
Yes,
So
for
thank you
sure.
again,
You are
Miss
so welcome. And
Alerica.
again, thank you for thinking of me and having me on. Definitely, definitely a pleasure, and I'm honored that you once again asked me. So
Amen.
I appreciate you.
Until the next time.
Until the next time, thank you.